This is Rob Powell, and today in Tacx Turbo Talks we're talking to Damien Howson of Mitchelton-Scott about the Aussie Summer of Cycling and his 2020 season. Alright, welcome back to the new episode of the Tacx Turbo Talks. It's the second one of the 2020 season, and it's a new season, and we also got some new teams riding with Tacx, and one of them is Mitchelton-Scott. I'm happy to have on the line Damien Howson. Damien, welcome.
Thank you.
Aussie in the middle of Aussie Summer of Cycling, and it was getting hot out there yesterday when you were riding Race Torquay.
Yeah, it definitely was. It's been a pretty unusual start to the Australian summer, I guess. I think they stated stage 4 or something of Tour Down Under was the coldest stage in the race's history, so it's definitely been quite mild. But Race Torquay yesterday, the temperatures really turned up.
What was it in the end? Did you jump in the ocean there, or did you ride back to Geelong?
Well, we're luckily staying around the corner, so it's just a matter of getting back to the hotel room and had the aircon dialed to minimum, ready to get back to the room in a bit of comfort. But I probably got up to the Garmin was reading, just a touch under 40 degrees.
Ooh, nice. And I think the forecast for this weekend for the Cadel race on Sunday is going to be pretty hot as well.
I think it's actually quite mild. I haven't taken a closer look yet, but it's always a tough race with if the elements do turn up with some extreme temperatures. And adds an extra dynamic to the racing.
So for you, you are from Adelaide. There was no TDU in your program. I thought I counted only like 3 TDU participations for you so far in the career.
Yeah, that's right. It's a race I really enjoy, and racing on home roads and training roads is pretty special. But I guess the calendars for us riders are put together back in October, November, and the team has plans for me on the back half of the season. So keeping that in mind, not racing too much too early is generally the plan. So kicked off racing at the Nationals, but really now with Cadels and Sun Tour coming up is my summer of cycling here in Australia, that I can actually get stuck into it.
What was the feeling yesterday in Race Torquay? Did you already felt like you were going to be ready for those next few races, or?
I've worked hard in training over the last couple of months, and it's always a bit unknown. I think I was moving okay, nothing super, but well enough at Nationals. So it was just about fine tuning areas that I knew I needed to improve on to come into some racing. Like the Cadel Road Race and Sun Tour. So yesterday was a nice introduction to that. It was pretty aggressive racing, something that you can't replicate in training. So for us to get into the racing, pinning on numbers again, and be surrounded by a peloton of other riders and have that tempo dictated to you rather than riding at your own comfortable tempo is something that's you need to expose yourself to coming into a block of racing.
Expectations for Cadel Road Race is going to be all out for Impey, all in for him?
I think it's pretty open plan at this stage. We haven't really sat down to go over the finer roles within the team. Obviously, the race is, as hard as that course is, has come down to a sprint in the last couple of years. So it's probably some teams that want that to happen again, and other teams will be looking to be aggressive and make the race a lot harder to get rid of those pure sprinters. So we'll have to sit down with the team and discuss the tactics further.
I think over the last couple of years, you often had it like there was a fair bit of wind and a bit of headwind on the home stretch as well, which made it even harder to prevent the sprint with a big group. So obviously something probably to take into consideration for you guys as well.
Yeah, it's a race that's played out in many different ways in the past. There's been editions where before even getting to the circuits, there's been crosswinds and splits happen. The race partly rejoins. There's been other races where I've had a solo winner aggressive racing, negative racing. Yeah, it's kind of had it all, and the conditions have a lot to do with that. But we'll have to see what Sunday brings and the plan that we bring to the table and how it all unfolds.
And then after Sunday, it's probably on to Wednesday for the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. A tour is probably quite special for you. You won it in 2017, third in 2016 and 2018. Any ambitions or any freedom for yourself that this year already that you know of, or?
Yeah, it's a race that I always seem to travel quite well in. I enjoy the racing there. Local World Tour team participating in the Sun Tour is a special feeling. I've had a lot of decent results. So, and this year finishing up Falls Creek will be the first time that I've been up there since winning the stage a couple of years ago. So, looking forward to the challenge. We've got a strong team with the likes of Simon Racing. Sets us up well, but I think there should be a few opportunities along the way, depending on what the other teams have in store for their tactics against us. But it's always a challenge.
What do you reckon is going to be the decisive one in that one? Is it going to be the Falls Creek or just the more maybe steepier one, the tougher one to Mount Buller?
I've ridden Falls Creek many times before in training, and then obviously in the stage a few years ago, and I've never ridden up Mount Buller, so I've heard it's quite challenging. It's probably more decisive. I think it sounds like it's a bit steeper and more consistent for 15 kilometres rather than Falls Creek has its ups and downs, some tougher bits, some bits of recovery, and it's really, I think, two different climbs. So I'm predicting Mount Buller to be more decisive, but we will see. At the end of the day, a 30-kilometre climb up Falls is never an easy feat.
All right, and then we finished the Sun Tour at stage 5 in the city of Melbourne. We often started it with a prologue, and now it's going to be finished in the city centre. What adds that to the atmosphere of the race?
Yeah, it's always good to finish the race in Melbourne. Yeah, we've obviously started with a 2-kilometre prologue in the past, which has kicked the race off. Now finishing with a circuit race in the city creates an opportunity to have large amount of spectators to watch the final stage, and it's an exciting race with often a bunch sprint at the finish to conclude the tour.
And then it probably marks the end of the Aussie summer of cycling. When we look ahead to the rest of 2020, as you said, the team has some plans for you later on in the season. What's on your calendar next, and what's it going to look like for you this year?
Yeah, well, firstly, I'll fly out from Sun Tour, heading back over to Europe, and obviously I've got to acclimatise a little bit to the colder temperatures. I'll spend a little bit of time at home before rejoining the team at a bit of a training camp, and then the racing for me will most likely begin at Catalonia, followed by the Ardennes Classics, and Romandy will conclude my first mini block of racing before the team puts together a more solid plan for the remainder of the season. So, we kind of take it month by month, but with a general outline that's given to us.
How do you see your role for the next team? Is it still going to be like basically luxury domestique for the GC riders like the Yates brothers?
Yeah, I think it's something I've enjoyed working on in the past, and I'll continue to hopefully develop in that role. I think I've also had a bit of a taste now after the Vuelta last year to chase my own success on particular stages. So, I think incorporating that this year will be a nice change, but it's, for me, still focusing on our team leaders and playing the team role to deliver them for the result.
Yeah, what was it in Vuelta? 5 breakaways that you were in?
Yeah, it was. That'd be correct.
And getting close to a stage win on, I can't remember, was it stage 11 or 12?
Yeah, something around that, stage 11 to 12. Yeah, that was probably a defining moment, I guess, that I saw an opportunity and was close to taking it. And I kind of know now. I've been racing for a few years in the World Tour that hopefully a maiden World Tour win is just around the corner. So giving myself those opportunities, and with the support of the team, as well as playing the supporting role, something could well develop.
Yeah. You talk about like a win. Obviously, we talked about the Sun Tour, but there's like one other big prolific win in your career, the gold at the under-23 time trials in 2013.
Yep.
Is there something that you still have ambitions for, like in the time trial?
It's something I'm always have in the back of my mind. It's something that I think has come quite naturally to me over my career. I've probably turned away from a little bit, focusing a little bit more on my climbing abilities and supporting our leaders in the mountains, rather than spending many hours a week on a time trial bike. Having said that, I think there will be a few opportunities throughout the year to see what results I can pull from a time trial perspective. And I think it's just a decision I made a couple of years ago with the limited amount of time trials that I have in my race program, along with finding a new passion within the sport, has caused me to turn away from it a little bit. But it's definitely not something I want to completely give up, and keep that as a strength and added versatility to my riding style, which is always a positive.
Do you still remember on that day who you overtook in a time trial?
Yeah, I do. He mentioned it to me. I think it was at the Vuelta last year, and he had the same question for me. Why I kind of didn't continue down that path. So old Victor is now one of the leading time trialists in the world, obviously, and I think he was my 1 or 2 minute man, and I was able to overtake him. He was the European champion at the time, still with probably 10 kilometers from the finish. So I had a really good day on the bike back in 2013. It was a special moment in my career, and it's something I'd worked hard towards, and I knew it was something that if I could deliver my best performance, that I could walk away with a world championship. And it's something, as much as it's an under 23 world title, another elite world title, it's a nice little memento that I can carry forward. It's obviously mentioned a fair bit, and you can't take a world title away.
Yeah, because the rider we were talking about was indeed like Victor Kampenaerts, obviously the world hour record holder at the moment. Is not somewhere when your ambition that you think at some point in my life I want to do an attempt at an hour record, or?
No, I don't at this stage. No, my days of riding around a truck ended a few years ago now, and definitely have no ambitions to slog it out for an hour. But it's commendable for the guys that are taking the time to focus on such a grueling event.
Yeah, if it, just a few more names that were in the top 10 that year: Stefan Kung, Ryan Mullen, Lawson Craddock. Yeah, not a bad list to beat by a fair bit of margin. All right, we've got to wrap it up. We've got like the Tacx Turbo Talk fan question of the week. And this week the question was from Courb d'Artour, and he wanted to know, what's the best souvenir from your cycling career?
Best souvenir?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. It's obviously, we get to meet a lot of fans along the roadside, at the buses and all around the world, and many fans give us small tokens, pictures drawn. I can remember a young Japanese girl giving our team at Tour Down Under a couple of years ago a sticker set that had our names written in Japanese, along with a little badge with a cartoon character of our face, stuff like that. It's kind of it's nice that the fans follow the racing and have a passion for it, but also want to provide something of their own to the riders. So off the top of my head, that's probably something I can recall.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Because I know, like, some riders, what they do nowadays, I think Laurens de Dam did it last year, especially when he was riding these race numbers and he was exchanging them for like a bottle of wine at the end of a stage race. Is that something that you might think of, like change your numbers for something that you collect? Or
yeah, I often give away my numbers and jerseys and stuff like this throughout the season. But for us, I don't expect anything in return, kind of thing. It's it's just nice to have the appreciation of the supporters that follow myself and the team.
All right, awesome. Okay, we're gonna leave you to it. Hope you enjoy the air conditioning there in Melbourne for another couple of hours, and good luck tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but Sunday with the Cadel race.
Thank you very much.
And obviously in the Sun Tour, and hopefully you can make it back to that podium and hopefully just top step again.
That'd be very nice.
All right, people. Thanks for listening to this Tacx Turbo Talks with Damien Howson of Mitchelton-Scott. If you enjoyed this one, please leave a rating and a review on iTunes. Always helps to get the word out about the podcast. This was Rob Bouw with Damien Howson of Mitchelton-Scott. Stay tuned for the new Tacx Turbo Talks.